there was a time where I had a friend of mine who was in that lifestyle, and I was a teenager. I was in high school. We were walking home from school. He came across somebody who he had a problem with, and that person went back inside to grab a weapon. And so he came back out and approached us with that weapon. So we backed away, and mind you, just kind of separated from that situation. Obviously, you're not going to stay there to get attacked or anything. I think it was that evening or later that week, he was pressured to respond to that. I just remember like not wanting to be a part of that pressure, not cave into that pressure. So I just separated myself and made the decision to not be a part of the response that they were proposing. And so that friend, is now doing life in prison.
Well, I love the San Gabriel Valley.
Welcome to the My SGV podcast.
So I grew up here and I still live in Alhambra.
I was raised in between Temple City and Alhambra.
Eventually resided in South San Gabriel.
Our mission is to capture and share the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley.
Baldwin Park has pretty much been my whole life.
Well, I'm proud to say that I was born and raised in the San Gabriel Valley.
We believe our diversity is what makes the SGV great. And no matter where you are from, in the San Gabriel Valley, you will feel welcome. All right, SGVers, welcome back to another episode of the My SGV podcast. Thank you for tuning in and spending this time with us. If you're new here, we bring you the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We really do appreciate it. Well, Samuel, we got to connect over a Zoom call, first initially on Instagram, and then we got to chat on Zoom. And beyond the clothing, you are a person of faith. And that was sort of like it's always a kind of a, I don't know if it's an unusual question, but like you don't know really where that other person is at, right? And I get that as a person of faith myself. So I always can sense that in those conversations that I have with guests, and then I'm always excited to learn their own faith journey because nobody's is the same,
Yeah, definitely. It was. I had come across your Instagram, and I saw a couple of short reels, and I was like, cool, a podcast in the San Gabriel Valley. That's a first. I haven't heard of anything like that. I liked what you guys were doing, bringing attention to the San Gabriel Valley, interviewing people from the San Gabriel Valley, shedding light on what it's like to live in the San Gabriel Valley. So I started following, and then I was like, wow, it'd probably be pretty cool if I try to come out in this podcast. And I have my days where I'm just doing my productive work for my business and just working and doing things in the computer. So I was like, you know what? And I dedicate time to try to network on social media. So I was like, let me reach out and see if this might be something that might be possible. And so that's what brought me to you. I can't remember who I spoke to who set things up, but we had the Zoom call, which I didn't know what to expect, to be honest.
Sure.
Never been on a podcast. And I think when we were having the conversation, I told you I was like trying to like frame, just talk about my brand and not really who I am.
Sure.
And I noticed that you were like wanting to know more of who I was, and I was finding a difficult time in expressing that and showing you who I was, because it's kind of how I was raised to develop kind of like a barrier between that, to not show that other side, because in my head it portrays me as like vulnerable and shows my vulnerability. So it was hard to
that.
Yeah, I know there is,
that.
and I'm coming to learn that. And so I didn't know how to express when we were talking how I grew up, and some of the things that I overcame, and the challenges in my faith and what it meant to me. Those were all deep questions.
Sure.
That I didn't really know how to explain. And I think I had just gotten off another Zoom meeting for work. So I went from work mode to like, hey, who are you? And what do you believe in? And what was your struggle? And what was your upbringing? And it was an interesting conversation. Very, very interesting conversation. And it made me really reflect on a lot. And you asked me a lot of questions that definitely made me feel more comfortable with things that I had, been through, and things that I've overcame, and things that I was exposed to in my environment and how I grew up. And I kind of conveyed some of that through some expressions and some tears, but it came through.
Sure. Yeah. I want to get into that story. Before that, though, thank you to Paris Baguette for sponsoring the delicious pastries each and every week for our guests. Unfortunately, you came at the last show of the day, so you don't get a choice. You only get sweet. There's usually a option between sweet and savory, but the savory's gone. So if you haven't already, go check them out in the city of San Gabriel on Las Tunas, and say hi to Jason and Joanna for us. He's a first-generation Mexican-American from a family of 9 raised in Baldwin Park, with the streets and the statistics close enough to feel inevitable. He grew up surrounded by drugs, pressure, and the quiet expectation that people from his background do not make it out. He chose a different path and built a life on work ethic, accountability, and mindset. Today he works for LA County and runs a clothing brand centered on resilience, discipline, and self-belief, using his story to reach anyone who knows what it means to be a flower growing out of concrete. Please welcome Samuel Lopez. Samuel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Russell. I appreciate it. Like I said, pleasure to be here. This is my first podcast, so I'm just excited to come along this journey and just experience this, honestly, and just share, like I said, just a little bit of my background, what it was like, and just see if this brings, any inspiration or hope to somebody that grew up in the neighborhood that I grew up in, or anywhere for that matter. I know when you grow up in a low-income neighborhood, it's just sometimes you don't really think about the bigger picture, what else is out there. Sometimes you get raised and there's not enough self-belief instilled in you. And so I'm excited to do this and talk about, what I went through and how I overcame it, and just put a positive energy out there for anybody who's listening to grasp whatever they can from it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Samuel, let's start with this. What is your connection to the San Gabriel Valley?
Yeah, so like I mentioned to you when we were speaking, I was born in El Monte, and then I grew up in Baldwin Park. So I grew up in Baldwin Park all my life. If you're familiar with Baldwin Park's elementary's Pleasant View Elementary, then I went to Holland, then I went to Baldwin Park High School, and then I went to, for a temporary period when I was falling behind, I was in a continuation school, North Park High School. I played sports in Baldwin Park High School. I played football. So that's kind of like my tie to the San Gabriel Valley.
And you still live in the SGV?
I do still live in the SGV, yeah.
And what was it like growing up in Baldwin Park?
It was amazing. Honestly, it was amazing. I was born in 91, and that's part of why my brand is 91, G-O-D. Born in 91, so I grew up in the 90s, and it was amazing. Before technology, before technology, and it was just amazing because it was a different era, it was a different time. We would hang out outside, we would play, we would ride our bikes. I don't know, it seemed more simpler. And just growing up in Baldwin Park, it's majority Hispanic. Growing up with people like-minded culture, and also like immigrants, people who migrated, Hispanics, first generation Mexicans, and just good culture, good people. I mean, it definitely had its negative side to it. I mean, obviously there's gangs in Baldwin Park. There's drugs that are in the city. So it did have its rough side, but that's part of what I looked at as, at the time, kind of going through that, being raised around that time. Like, there was the struggle, but there was also the beautiful side to it. The families, like I said, playing outside, kids playing outside, the simplicity of life. So, and then the struggle that I went through with, coming from a family of 9, first generation Mexicans, like, looking back, like, it seemed like a complicated upbringing just due to the circumstances that my parents were dealt with, but the blessing that it, molded me into the person who I am today, in terms of the circumstances that I was put through.
What circumstances? Beyond the obvious, like 9 kids is tough.
Yeah, it is, man. And when I say circumstances, well, Just growing up in a neighborhood where there was gangs present, where there was drugs present. There was a lot of that in my environment. I was exposed to a lot of that. I did see a lot of that. I grew up thinking it was something to look up to. So it's like, on one hand, I had this, lifestyle trying to pull me into something where it's influencing me heavy to feel like I belong. Because mind you, my dad was always at work. He was working 12-hour shifts. He'd leave 4 a.m, come back late in the evening. So I would rarely see him, and he would rarely be involved. And my mom just chore after chore, preparing food. So I was left to be out in the streets and kind of hang out there, hang out with the neighborhood kids. And that's where those circumstances come into play, where I was exposed, and I would see that type of lifestyle and come close to it, but have something always just pull me back and redivert my attention to positive things, and not make those bad decisions that were going to impact my life or the future.
What was that? What was pulling you back?
I think I shared this with you when we had that conversation. I think it was my faith. I mean, just having faith. I told you my mom, she would always bring us into one of the bedrooms before we went to bed, and she would pray. She would all have us all pray. So that's what I believe in. I believe something was, pulling me back to not just let go completely, and look for that fulfillment in fitting in that type of culture and that type of lifestyle. Because that's what I saw a lot of people do. I saw a lot of people just think that was the answer, and let go of their faith, or let go of something that was better for them, and just make the decision to just go all in on that. And I saw the repercussions from that. I saw people, go away for a long time. I saw people fall into addiction. And in a retrospect now, when I see the group that I grew up with, I see that a lot of people didn't get the opportunity that I had. So, and I linked that back to the faith that I had, and how that just kind of guided me. I don't know the best way to explain it, because it's not like one single decision that I made, like, oh, this kept me out of this. It was just put in predicaments, put in situations where thankfully something looked over me, and I didn't end up paying a big consequence and impacting my life in another direction.
The gang life, as I understood it from my friends who were in gangs, was so appealing to them because it offered them really love and family.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tripped out on that. I was like, are you serious? Like, that's what you were searching for? Every single one. So I hear that, and I hear that environment in Baldwin Park, what I know about it, what I know about gangs. And then I'm like, you should have been there. You should have been there, because how can just one mother give enough love to all 9 kids with a father gone? How is that possible? I still am tripping out on that, like as an amazing thing, because the reason that all those kids that I knew left was because they didn't feel like they belonged.
Yeah.
At home.
Yeah. The glory goes to God first. And I think he just was able to bless my parents, to keep them on track. And I think obviously having my dad, even though he was absent of, being present with me and connecting with me, the simple fact that he was able to provide for us, provide a home for us, provide discipline for us, and mother who, was also present and taking care of us, and, making home cooked meal for us, and providing, I guess, stability. Maybe that was something that had to do with me not, craving or searching for that love elsewhere, because there was a bit of that. I mean, there was a lot of that, obviously, but at home. But maybe that stability kept me grounded, and then plus my mother, praying and just having faith. There was just always something like I said, looked out after me is the best way I can say it, because there was certain circumstances where very fast it could have gone a different way. I have a lot of brothers, so it wasn't just me. So it wasn't just me who was exposed to that. So that's why I just always say that it seemed like if you're a faithful person and you're close to God, he will take care of you. He will give you what you need. And because very easily something could have happened to a brother of mine, or something could have happened to a cousin of mine, and I think that could have changed my life, because maybe it might have shifted my mindset to let go, and I think that's where I never let go, of my faith. And I told you I was heavily influenced because remember I mentioned the story when I was in second grade. My teacher asked me what I wanted to be when I grow up, and I had mentioned that I wanted to be a gangster. That was my response to her. Mind you, a second grader, so it was influencing, but it just never got a hold of me, and that was due to, like I said, my parents providing that stability, the structure, the discipline.
How was their relationship?
Their relationship was standard, traditional, like Mexican relationship, like very, my mom cooked for my dad. My mom would clean the home. He would come home. She would wash it. Like, you know what I mean? She was just traditional Mexican relationship where the wife stays home, takes care of the kids, and basically holds the fort down while dad's at work. That was the relationship.
Did you see them like connect? And like, did you feel like they were close?
Yeah. I saw that. I did see them like be affectionate towards each other. I saw them. Most importantly, I saw them kind of like unite and work together to make sure that they could raise all 9 of us. I think that was the biggest thing that I could see. That, and at the time, I'm young growing up. I'm feeling like this isn't fair. I'm feeling like I got the bad end of the stick. I'm feeling like, man, this sucks. You don't get what you want. You don't get what you ask for. You get disciplined from time to time. You catch a belt, and so you're. I'm thinking that it's bad circumstances, but in retrospect, when I look back, it was all for a reason, and it was all to mold me to who I am and to guide me through the journey that I had to go through to make sure that I didn't go down a path that probably was no coming back from, or could have had worse consequences.
So take me to a time there where it seems like there was a decision to be made and you could have gone one way or another.
There was a time where I had a friend of mine who was he was in that lifestyle, and I was a teenager. I was in high school, and we were walking home from school, and he came across somebody who he had a problem with, and that person went back inside to grab a weapon, and so he came back out and approached us with that weapon. So we backed away, and mind you, just kind of separated from that situation. Obviously, you're not going to stay there to get attacked or anything. And later that evening, or I think it was that evening or later that week, he was pressured to respond to that. I just remember like not wanting to be a part of that pressure, not cave into that pressure. So I just separated myself and made the decision to not be a part of the response that they were proposing. And so I did that. And that friend, is now he's doing life in prison, and his life completely changed after that. That was just one scenario. And just in hanging out, like I always knew when there was a time to kick it and there was a time to bounce. There was a time to show some love, hang out, kick it. Like I said, chill with friends. But there was a time where it was like, okay, that this is gonna go in a bad direction down if I go down this way. So I guess I was given the wisdom to see, as opposed to other friends that didn't have that were just like kind of blind to maybe the right from wrong or the decisions they were making.
As a teenager, I'll say even as a 40-year-old man, which I am. I'm not saying that you are. It can be tough to stand up against the idea of, if I don't do this thing, I'm sort of less than. That's a tough thing to stand up against, especially when you're a teenager.
Yeah,
Right?
For sure.
You hear the words of like, oh, you're not a man, or you're not tough, or you're scared, or whatever those messages are, right? To have the wherewithal at that time to not give in to that, that's impressive.
Yeah, and I'll credit that to my dad, because what I think what I saw him do was what kind of gave me like the courage and the strength to kind of overcome that type of pressure. I think so, because he showed me what it was to be a man, basically, and to work hard, and to be there for your family, and to put the ego down and do what you have to do. And so I always looked at what he did as something you should love, and something you should like look up to, and something that was more valuable than the lifestyle that I was seeing in the streets. And like I said, I saw people make bad decisions.
Do you know what a gift that was from your dad?
A tremendous gift. Yeah, a tremendous
like do you know
gift.
in the comparison of what most men get from their dad?
Yeah, I do. I recognize it now, like more than ever. Like I said, when I was a kid, like it wasn't like that. I was like, sometimes I'd be upset that our circumstances were the way they were, but now in retrospect, it's like I'm so grateful that he was able to do that for me.
What are the circumstances that you're talking about? What were the difficult things?
Yeah, so like,
I think you mentioned birthday or something, like you didn't get.
Yeah, so like the sacrifices. I think I told you the sacrifices, like not having like birthday parties, not having vacations, not having nice clothes, getting hand-me-downs, not getting so much affection, because obviously there's big family, not getting one-on-one time with my dad or with my mom, like that, the sacrifice in that, and the circumstances, not getting, like, when you're a kid, you look for support, you look for guidance from your parents, but when that's absent because they're just caught up in survival mode and taking care of life, you get left on your own to figure it out. So I don't know if that answered your question, but
yeah,
those were the circumstances. And that sacrifice, like I said, at the moment I didn't recognize it because I was caught up in that the pain of it, I guess you could say. And but in retrospect now, I see that even though I couldn't get like the support or the vacations or material stuff, what he did for me was way more impactful. Sure. My dad, and then what my mom did, which was continue to keep us in, continue to keep our faith, pray, and keep us grounded in that, to give us the wisdom to know. Because like I said, I have other brothers too, who shared the same similar experience as I did. I don't know too many immigrants who migrated from Mexico, who had 9 kids, who stood together, whose kids didn't get caught up in the environment that they grew up in. Because I can just, like, for my dad, not knowing English, I know that he had to deal with bullshit at work. My mom, same thing. I have 2 kids, so I know I don't know if you have kids, and it's a challenge. It is not easy raising kids. And so, like, I always think back of the Tupac song, Dear Mama, and how he says, I can't remember the exact lyrics to it, but he says, I just want you to know I understand. And that's truly how I feel with my parents. I reached that moment where I'm just like, I understand what you went through. And yeah, it's just, and I try to convey that to them so they understand that, like, I appreciate everything they did, and the suffering and the sacrificing, and the blessing that I received through that suffering and that sacrifice.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's crazy, Samuel, is like I used to watch shows or even TV shows, movies and stuff. And I'm like, how come everybody here has like this huge house? How come this, like, every kid has like their own room? It's like huge. I'm like, who is living like this?
Yeah.
Who is taking a vacation to Europe, to Hawaii every year? Like that's what they're showing us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're showing us that in that, like, this is what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And then you believe that lie, when truthfully, like, those families who never get together, who are never spending time with each other, they're not happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a lie. It's such a lie that those things are what we need to really be happy.
Yeah. And I've noticed that as well, that a lot of the times we tend to create an illusion of what happiness is, and it's when it's in your head. When you're in your head about what is happiness, then you're not genuinely living in the present moment where peace is. And happiness is something that I think is it comes and goes, and peace is permanent. So being present and out of your head and away from the illusions of what should be or because that's what had me feeling the way I felt when I was a kid, the illusion of I don't have this, or the illusion of my circumstances, which was making me feel the certain type of way. But when I can see now in retrospect, breaking out of that illusion, it was all a blessing. All along it was a blessing. So peace nowadays is what I search for. And that comes through putting God first.
Yeah, peace, because you can have peace even in like trials and things going bad. You can still have peace.
Very true. Yeah. Well, and we talked a little bit about faith and where we stood on that, and it's interesting conversation to have, and everybody has opinions, but and I did grow up going to church. My parents grew up, they had me going to Catholic church down here in Baldwin Park, St. John's. And I never really even paid attention in church. It was kind of like a thing I was forced to go to. But as I grew older and I started to then now get involved, I'm going to a Christian church now. In life, it's really one true battle, and it's the spiritual battle. And in retrospect, I look back at my friends and I see that they lost that. They didn't entirely lose the battle completely, but I see that in some ways they lost it in a moment of making a bad decision, and it costed them. So becoming spiritually aware, and like I said, it's a daily thing.
I was just having a conversation with a previous guest, not on the show, but like just before, and he's a filmmaker. We're talking about everybody has to answer these questions for themselves, whether they admit to it or not, at whatever time in their life. And these are the same questions that have been asked for millennia. Why am I here? What's my purpose? Who made me? Why is all this? Like, these questions, everybody has to wrestle with it. Everybody. Even the person who says, like, I don't believe in God and we're just a cosmic mistake, everybody wrestles with those questions. Why am I here? What's my purpose? What happens when I die?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whether or not they think about it or not, they still have to wrestle with it.
Yeah, it's the road you walk alone at the end of the day. Yeah, and everybody has to do it. Everybody on this planet deals with the same thing.
Sure.
The illusions that we create in our heads that hinder us, that hold us back, that put fear in us, that put anxiety in us, that scare us, that make us angry, all of that complete illusion that holds you back from the real you. I think, and I told you when we spoke, I was like, oh, I don't like getting emotional, because I was tearing up. And even in that, I kind of look at that as like an illusion, because I get emotional because of the pain, the so-called pain that I felt going through that. But there really was no pain. It was in fact a blessing going through that. But because I've believed into the fact that it was a rough time, a struggling time, I believed into that illusion, which in fact I was going through that, but it wasn't pain. It wasn't something that should have caused me pain because it was a blessing.
I beg to differ. I beg to differ.
Elaborate.
I think that it can be both. I think that it can absolutely have been hurtful, hard, difficult, and also a blessing.
Definitely felt that way. Like, man, it was just, it felt that way for sure. Like,
Sure.
It's rough Christmases, that's for sure. And I'm not trying to sound like, poor little me, but it's a struggle, and a lot of people go through it. And I'm just simply saying that even given those circumstances, it didn't push me into falling victim to the statistics of where I come from. So,
yeah.
And it's why I named my recent drop Built from Pressure. That's the next drop I have coming from my clothing brand, and because I really feel that's where I come from. I'm built from pressure, from having like amounts of peer pressure on me, having amounts of negative environment pressing on me, and not succumbing to caving to what others thought I should have been or what other people were doing, and not follow the crowd.
Yeah. I want to get into your clothing brand and the connection with your mom, but I love this idea from a woman named Brene Brown. Do you know what the opposite of belonging is?
The opposite of belonging, no.
Fitting in. I was blown away when I heard that, and she's like, fitting in is you making yourself acceptable to others. Then you fit in. And belonging is you go there just as you are, and then you're accepted. And I was like, oh man, that's powerful.
Yeah, there's a distinctive difference there.
Right? People sometimes want to fit in, but you really want to belong.
Yeah, very true.
I'm here as myself, accept me as I am. I don't need to change anything about myself to belong.
And that was how I came. Like when I would, participate, I didn't look to fit in,
But you had an example of it. You had an environment where you belonged.
Yeah.
That is what I think, like, what I get from your story. Like, for parents who are like trying so hard to keep their kids away from drugs or gangs, like in an environment with 9 kids, and I'm thinking in a drug gang infested place, your mom somehow gave you this thing. So crazy. It
is, man. It really is. And I had family too as well that was participated in stuff like that too, and that influence was down the street from me. Like they live right across the street from us. So you look up to family and you look up to relatives, and when you're little, when you think something's cool, you look up to that, So yeah, definitely for them, my parents my mom be able to continue to keep our faith, and my dad to continue to be that strong male figure and provider, kept me grounded and gave me that stability. And I'm not saying that's the answer or the solution to everybody, because I've heard stories where people have had that, probably even better. They come from well-off families and they still end up making bad decisions. And that's why I tie it to faith, because you gotta have that too. You gotta have that. That's number one.
Sure.
And I've told my mom, I think that because I thanked her for everything they've done. She's done. My dad did, and I always tell them, like, God gave you guys the ability to do what you did, to endure what you did, to make the sacrifices that you did, to then, bless us. And I know it was hard, and I know it was challenging, and just grateful. I think the Bible says, honor thy parents. I've never read the Bible. I just get little snippets here and there. But my interpretation on that is, don't hate your parents. Don't hate your parents. And if you have any type of resentment, to forgive them, because they didn't know any better, and they did what they could with what they had. And so,
yeah. So there's a pretty cool part of your story, the connection between what your mom did, her hustle, and now what you're doing. It's sort of like in your blood. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So my dad was working 12 hours a day, and 9 kids. It's a big family to support, and especially with just one income. So my mom started to do her own little side hustle, and she started to sew. Well, initially she had sewed at factories, but then she picked up the niche and she bought her own sewing machines, and she began to sew at home out of our garage. So she built a clientele. She started making uniforms, school uniforms, and things of that nature. So I grew up seeing her make clothes, and it's just so interesting how I ended up almost doing the same thing. I'm not per se making the clothes by hand, but I'm designing my brand. I'm designing my gear. I'm getting it manufactured, and I'm selling clothes. That's what she did. She sold clothes, and that's what I'm doing now. So, and that's part of where I got the work ethic. My dad working hard, 12-hour shifts. My mom working to take care of us and still making clothes. And maybe that's where I got my entrepreneurial ambition.
Samuel, we ask each guest to bring an item with them. What did you bring with you today?
Yeah, I was like, because I saw some of your podcasts, and I was like, well, what am I going to bring? I saw some people bring pictures. So I was like, okay, well, first of all, we don't have that many pictures. 9 of us, my mom, she took pictures of the first 3, and that was it. And the rest of us didn't get pictures. Family has pictures and stuff like that. But
you don't have pictures of you as a child or a baby?
No. I think I had one, but now I don't even know where it's at. Yeah. Wow. So I found this picture. Well, I went before I moved out of my parents' house. I kind of went through some of the photo books they had, and I was grabbing pictures because I knew if I don't grab them, they're gonna probably get misplaced, and I want these memories. So I grabbed this picture. That is I think I was about 6 or 7, turning 7 or 6, and it's the only birthday that I celebrated as a kid with my family. So which is just my immediate brothers and an uncle. So,
can you show this camera here?
And it's I think my mom made a cake. She decorated a little bit. And my Nino, my uncle, he came over, and that's the only time I remember celebrating my birthday as a kid. So it means a lot to me because it shows, it captures that moment of how my mom tried to make that day for me. And yeah, just like I said, look, I mean,
is that you in the red, the green hat?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know. I felt like it just captured. All of us have a smile, and we have pretty much nothing. In terms of, it's just my mom making the home happy.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for bringing that in.
Yeah.
So, do you have a memory of that, or does it only exist from the picture? Because sometimes I see pictures and I'm like,
it only exists from the picture. Yeah, I don't have a memory of it. I don't remember them coming over. Thankfully, I got the picture. Because I didn't even remember that we celebrated my birthday as a kid. It's just the fact that I have the picture that I can see, okay, celebrated it one time.
It's a Polaroid. It's a Polaroid, and I can tell by the Pepsi, the design. It's
it's throwback.
Age.
It's way from the 90s, and I think that was my mom. It looks like my mom baked that cake. I don't know if she grabbed that from the store, because I don't think she would have done that.
Did you all play together, your siblings?
Yeah, we that was another thing that my parents kind of did good, is they put us in community sports. They put the boys in community sports. So
that's a lot of kids to put in sports.
Yeah, well, back then there was programs that gave you scholarships, and it was affordable. Nowadays it's crazy. It's an arm and a leg to get a kid in a sport. So that kept us a little bit busy. And it gave us a little bit of discipline and helped us build character, and kept us off the streets for a temporary moment.
So you wanted to be a gangster in 2nd grade?
Yeah.
Was there a moment where you're like, I for sure don't want to be that anymore?
I don't know. I guess around that time I was looking to fit in. I think when I mentioned that, I was looking to fit in. I think as I got to middle school, I started to see that it wasn't something that I wanted, because I started to, I guess, realize that it was going to be a lifestyle that wasn't going to be something that I was going to be happy with, or that my parents were going to be happy with, or that I was going to have benefit from.
That's pretty crazy, because a lot of kids think that that's the way out. You know, that's going to bring them joy. That's going to bring them money, happiness, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
They think that's the way.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get into like how you came to your faith, because now you're a Christian, not a Catholic. I understand the difference, but I'm curious to hear that from your perspective. So, but let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Sometimes, even the best of us can slip up. That's why the law offices of Scott Wormuth are here to pick you back up again.
And while they strive to get you the biggest compensation possible, oh my God,
their main concern is your health and recovery. They work closely with doctors and insurance companies to make sure you get the proper medical treatment.
initial consultations are free, so give them a call.
At the law offices of Scott Wormuth, we're with you all the way.
I'm Scott Wormuth. We've been fighting for your rights for more than 40 years.
All right, we're back with Samuel. Samuel, before the break, we're going to get into coming back to your faith, or maybe away from the Catholic Church. And so I'm curious about that. But before we get into that, we like to ask questions from this deck of cards called Icebreakers. And there's just a fun way for us to get to know each other. So I'll be answering it as well. Samuel, what do you regret not doing when you were younger?
Staying committed to playing basketball.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was relatively good in elementary, and then when I got to middle school, you needed the grades, and that's when I fell off. I stopped playing. I wasn't into school, so I wish I would have stuck with it. Maybe doing boxing as well. I would have loved to have done boxing.
I think I've answered this question before. I'm going to go in a different direction than I think I've answered before. I always wonder what it would have been like if I would have stayed in the military, because I'm 47 now. I could have retired at 37 with 20 years in. And I think about that. I could be retired. I could have 30 years in right now and retired. That is so crazy to me. And I never really, it's a hard decision to make at 17 that you're going to do that for 20 years. But I always wonder, what that would have been like. Granted, I would be a different life and different person, but yeah. What do you regret not doing when you were younger? Let us know in the comments. So, Samuel, you grew up Catholic, just sort of a thing that you did. And what brought you back to your faith? Because your faith seems to be a big part of your story.
So, grew up Catholic. We would go to church every Sunday, and then as I, started to grow up and become a teenager, I stopped going. But I think what brought me back to my faith was, having kids. I think that reshapes your view on life, and you start searching for meaning in life. You start wondering, like you said, those questions people ask, and I found myself looking for peace, and I found myself looking for answers, and when I went to Catholic church, I never really was like involved or deeply into it. So I started looking for those answers on my own, and start to, now on the internet, you can find videos and you can see things and watch, people talk about certain things. And that brought me to the church that I'm at now, and going steadily and fellowshipping and attending men's groups. A lot of things started to get revealed to me. And as things got revealed to me, it made my bond stronger.
What sort of things got revealed to you?
The fact that God protected me through the upbringing that I had.
I see.
And how I was able to look at that. I was able to reflect on that. The wisdom to be able to see like the things that are going on in the world today, and the realization that it's a spiritual battle, and the realization of you have to walk through that walk alone.
It sounds like your family is what brought you back, or searching for those answers. But your family
yeah. Like, I mean, like I said, when you want the best for your kids, and the only way to get that is through God. because only he can guide your kids. I mean, and I lived through that.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2.
Boy, girl?
I have a daughter who's 10 and a son who's 5. Yeah. So.
Fun ages.
Yeah, it is.
I guess every age is good.
Yeah.
Right? You work for the government, or you work for the city?
For the county.
For the county. Mm-hmm. But you also have your own side hustle.
Yeah.
So how did that whole thing come about?
Yeah. So, I learned the work ethic through my parents, and I was working 2 jobs at one point just to try to get ahead and be able to take care of my family and get a home. And through that, I realized that I didn't want to work for other people. Well, work 2 jobs. And so I would gym every morning at 5 a.m, and I would just, you have a lot of time to ponder and to think about things. And an idea just popped into my head to decide to do my own business. And the clothing brand just came, and one thing just came after another, and I just developed it. It just all happened so fast. Like I never thought I was going to be doing this. That's why it's just so crazy, because, life is already planned out for us, and it just happens for us. And so that's how I felt it happened for me, that the brand stuff, I didn't plan it. It just, one thing led to another, and here I am, and I'm glad I found it. And it's a amazing way to be creative, an amazing way to express myself. It's an amazing way to show my kids that they can do something. There's just so many benefits to finding a purpose. And I don't know if this is my purpose, but it's something I'm doing now. So I'm enjoying it, and I have no set expectation on it. I'm just enjoying it and going from moment to moment.
And with your clothing brand, who's your target audience? Like, who are you making this clothing for? Who do you want to represent your brand?
That's a good question. I've been asked that, like, when I was working with people on social media, people would ask me, like, oh, you have to find your audience. You have to appeal to your audience. And I always felt like, yes, there's some strategy in that, but I really just never wanted to box myself in to say, hey, this is the audience I'm targeting. I know it's a strategy to get better sales, but my audience is whoever can relate. Whoever understands what a struggle is, whoever can understand to face adversity and overcome it, whoever can relate to not believing in yourself at one point and then finding the strength to believe in yourself. I casted a broad net. Whoever falls into that is who I'm targeting as an audience.
I see. Yeah. And Are you enjoying the journey? Are you having fun with it?
Yeah, I am. It's a lot of different hats that I have to wear, like the designer, the networker, the keeping track of the finances, video editing, the advertising, so many different hats. But I'm just trying to find joy and be grateful for the opportunity that I can do all that. 'Cause I understand it's a lot, but I enjoy going through it. I enjoy the process.
I see. Okay. And one last question, Samuel. If you can go back to when you first started doing the clothing brand and do one thing over, what would you do differently?
I don't know that I would do anything differently. I can't think of one thing. I mean, everything happened for a reason.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Samuel, we're going to move on to the final segment of the show here, where we get to learn where you like to eat in the San Gabriel Valley. So hang on. So Samuel, this is what we call the SGV3, and we want to know your 3 favorite restaurants, eateries, pop-ups, trucks, whatever it is, your 3 favorite places to eat in the SGV.
Okay. Yeah. So there's this mom and pop spot in Baldwin Park. It's called Linda's Burger. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but they sell some of the best like mom and pop shop style burgers. So that's one. Then there's Baldwin Park Pizza Co. It has the best pizza, the best dough. Definitely have to try it. And then of course In-N-Out, which is the home of Baldwin Park. Yeah, it's a go-to. Actually, when I used to live back at home with my parents, me and my brothers had a tradition where we would get it every Sunday and we would watch the Laker games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So those are my top 3.
What was the first one again?
Linda's Burger.
Linda's Burger.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you must really like burgers.
Yeah. Growing up, yeah.
Is it one of those like nondescript like places where like there's like Rick's, Jim's, like Chris's, like one of those places?
Yeah. I mean, there's only one location. Yeah.
Awesome. And then, I'm sorry, what was the second one?
It was Baldwin Park Pizza Co.
Oh, yeah. What kind of pizza do you like?
Just pepperoni, but every now and then I might throw some pineapple.
Pineapple and pepperoni?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
I know, strange combination.
Awesome. And then what's your go-to order at In-N-Out?
It is a number 1.
A number 1?
Yeah.
It's like a cheeseburger, right?
It's a double, yeah.
Oh, double.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Samuel, thank you so much for coming on the show and for sharing your story with us. If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, I mean, they can find me on IG at 91 God Clothing. They can find me. Yeah, they can reach me there. I mean, I have an email. They can DM me, and they can locate me there.
Okay, awesome. Well,
thank you,
Samuel. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Man.
Well, there you go. Another episode in the books. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm still sort of blown away by this idea that a family with 9 children growing up in this environment had given this gift to their children or to Samuel to avoid going into the gang and drug life. Like that is just an incredible story here. And I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. If you like this kind of content, please like and share this. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to check out more of our content, go to our website, mysgv.net. And until next week, we'll see you then. Thank you for joining us on the MySGV podcast. Check out more of our content on our website, mysgv.net. This show was produced by Scott Wormuth, directed by Russell Mano, edited by Victoria Allers, and original music by Yone OG. If you'd like to join us next week as we capture and share more stories from our diverse community, feel welcome.
Nice mother. No kind of mother.